So hello and welcome. I'm going to show you another way how to conduct an implicit association test. And in this event we use a bundle of IATGen plus Qualtrics. This method has advantages and disadvantages, and one of the advantages is that you can make it a bit easier and you can run the implicit association test online, which can be an advantage if you run it online in your lab and you have people sitting in front of the same sizes of monitors and playing or participating in the IAT. The disadvantage is, of course, if you want to send it to other people, if you want to use Prolific or any MTurk, any other services, you might have some issues. Namely, you don't know what are the computers, what is the screen size. It means you'll have to include a lot of control questions from the size of the screen, type of computer, the browser, and so on. So this is the only way where you can get to some rigorous results. But anyway, this is a good way if you want to distribute it among many people, and I'm just going to show you how you do it. As you know already how an implicit association test works from my previous videos in this playlist. The first video explained the theory behind it, the second video explained how you code your first implicit association test using free IAT. Now I can show you a more sophisticated way. It is a bit more advanced, it has a bit stronger technology behind it, and it has, let's say, a newer approach to how to conduct implicit association test, because it runs also different orders of trials and so on, something you don't have in a free IAT. So free IAT is a very simple way to do it. This is a bit more complicated way. What you will need to know is the IATGen.wordpress.com, the website where you can find information about IATGen. It is a plugin developed by doctoral students from different universities, I think. They still work on it, but they develop really cool tool that you can use with the Qualtrics. You can use it also directly on the website to analyze the results, but you can also run the R package, and I used to run the R package when I needed to calculate some specific data that was not contained in the initial test. So first thing first, you go to IATGen.wordpress.com to find what you have here, what is IAT, how it works, what to cite, and what kind of papers they are relying on, that you just know what is behind the technology, what runs here, description of tests, how it will look like and why you need it. And then you have an important folder here, which is called materials, and in materials you can find the R package and also the link to IATGen website. And I already have it open somewhere, IATGen, this is it. You go here and you have two important tabs. The first one is the setup, to set it up, and the second one is after you have the results, to analyze them. You can analyze them here directly. And also if you want to cite the paper that explains or that refers to this method, you have also the citation here. You can see what the site is not in press anymore, it's already has been published, but they did not update the website. The other issue that I noticed, they, as you see here, is not secure. It means they did not update their SSL certificate, and sometimes it doesn't work. I had days when my browser, especially Chrome browser, after update says the website is not secure and the browser doesn't want to show the website. But in a few days they usually do something and the website still works. We're going to set it up. We had already a kind of setup which was very simple, but let's do it. It was the gender bias AIT, and we have the attribute name. In our event we want to look at the gender, so probably this one would be, let's say, we assumed that females will be more compassionate and more empathetic than males. That's why probably here we write compassion. Sorry for my typos, compassion. And the next negative attribute name would be assertiveness. And similar to the test that I showed you before, you have to add the stimuli words here. If you don't know how to do it, please read in our paper. We had a paper in the European Journal of Management Issues where I explained how you do it. You go to the thesaurus.com and you can search for words associated with assertiveness. So for instance, assertiveness, and you can see what are the strongest associations with assertiveness. Would be conclusiveness, decisiveness, determination, aggressiveness, energy, forcefulness, and so on. And you make a list of these words and then you test them. You make a pre-test where you give to different students or different participants from the pool of people whom you want to test it on, and they have to rank the words in how much or how close they are to the target word, in our event assertiveness. So let's just add some words. I do it like more or less for fun, so that's why without any test, we just take some of them. Let's take what we had. We had aggressiveness, and we add here ambition, sorry, and then we add here as a word we can add let's take willpower. Usually should have about 7 words on average for this test. Can be more, can be less, but it's better if you argue well how you took these words and where they come from. And for compassion, we add already, as you have seen in previous video, we already did something. Empathy, we add here warmth, and let's say we add here, what do we have with compassion? Let's say kindness. Kindness is maybe not the best word, but for the test it's sufficient. Sorry, it's a bit noisy in our office. Kindness. Okay, and now we have the second target A, target B. In our event, these were male and female. So for this, we need to use images, because if you have female and male, probably it's much better to use images. I have the images, but I'm not sure I can add them easily, because usually you have to add images that are available online or are available in the Qualtrics inside. Male. If I want to add, it will ask me for a target example, and we need to add here the link to this picture, and I think I don't have them, but to be sure, I'm just going to hit the pause and go to Qualtrics to see that I have these pictures. So I logged into my Qualtrics account, and if you want to know how to add pictures, if I try to remember to the best of my knowledge, my last IAT was some while ago, you go to Rich Content Editor, you go to add the picture, and here you can actually find a picture. So as you see, I have here 3 pictures female and 3 pictures from male. We add the first picture, and if we go to the source code, we have here the link to the picture. This will be the picture that is already uploaded and is in Qualtrics. And then you go to IATGen, go to add, and this is the email, female picture, female 1, and we added it. Then we have to do the same. I will probably just do 1 or 2 more, just so we have these pictures. Actually, I probably do only 2 female and 2 male pictures, otherwise it will take too much time. So I want to add a picture. Now I'm going to add the next one, female 2. And if we go to the source code, you can see the link to this second picture, which is here. And we go to IATGen and add the second female picture. Add. And we do the same with the male. I'll hit the pause to save your time. Be right back. So as you see, I added 2 pictures associated with male, and these are these 2 pictures here. And usually you should have more pictures. The same as with the words, you can have 5, 7 pictures depending on how you want to set up your experiment. So I use these 2 pictures. Now we go back to IATGen. So we have now the targets and the target A, target B with a name. It's female and male, and we have the words for compassion, words for assertiveness. We have pictures for target A, female, and pictures for target B, male. Now we go to advanced settings if you need to do something, and this is important. So usually we show now different words in different colors. So attribute stimuli will be shown in green, and target stimuli, they are pictures, so we don't have to take care of it, but you can make, for instance, if you use words to show them in red or show them in black, that you have the difference. And actually people don't need to read all the words, they need to understand what is it about. It is about understanding the implicit association test. How fast you associate a female with assertiveness or male with assertiveness. That is why it's fine. We have some predefined number of trials. As you see here, it's 20, 20, 20, 40, 40, 20, 40. The difference to free IAT is that we have here, as you see, 2 blocks more. In the free IAT, you have 5 blocks. Initial target, initial category, and then you have combined critical. What they offer here, and is based on the best practice, is actually to let people train and make 20 trials and practicing, which is the combination of the initial target, initial category. So they can train before they go to the critical block that we will need. And the same happens in block number 6. They train for the block number 7. Pause between trials, 250 milliseconds is okay. I would just leave it as it is. Non-random display order. I would go for random display order always, because otherwise the words will be shown exactly as you uploaded them, which may be not good. That's why random is good. Force user to correct errors. If there is a mistake, they need to hit the correct button. Finally, you can decide what will be swapped, the target or category, so it doesn't really matter what. As to me, it is indifferent, but maybe you want that people have always the pictures as they had on the left and the right, but the words will change. What is assertiveness should be then all of a sudden not on the left, but on the right. So this is what you change. Again, I apologize, I'm not alone in the office, other people speaking here, but we have what we have. And we go here to download Qualtrics survey file, and we agree this is the citation. If you want to use this method, don't forget to copy it, you will need it for your work. We click on agree, and we download the file in QSF file. And it's downloaded now as IAT gender bias. AIT, actually, IAT should it be, but it doesn't really matter. So we have our file somewhere here, I have it in my downloads, which you can see this is the file that we will need. And there is a mistake, let's correct it. AIT. And then we do the following. We go to Qualtrics, we go to the Qualtrics home. I have plenty of questionnaires running Qualtrics. It might not work with the free version of Qualtrics because it uses JavaScript. I think the free version of Qualtrics blocks JavaScript, but the regular version would work. We go to create a new project. And when we create it, we create a new survey, get started, and then we call it gender bias YouTube. And we want to, instead of creating blank survey, import a QSF file. And we choose the file, and this is exactly what we have downloaded now. This is gender bias ID. We open it, and we click on create project. And the main step is done, so if everything is right, the questionnaire will appear immediately. But you will need some additional blocks. You will need to add a block, for instance, to ask about the demographics, the age, the gender, the screen size, because these are the things that you might need. So you cannot change the first one. The first question will check that device is correct, because an AIT can be run on a computer. It means you will need a keyword. It cannot be conducted from a smartphone or from a tablet computer. That's why we need this block. We add a block below, and here you can add your questions. So you can make introduction, dear participants, and then you add a text, something like, dear participants, thank you for participating in this question, and so on. You can also add another block and ask the demographics like gender, age, education, type of education, experience, whatever is relevant for your research. Think about the following. If you want to run it online with people whom you don't know, who sit somewhere else, you need to add something like a time of the day. Even the weather can have an impact. So all possible things, all possible confounds that you control for in a lab, you cannot control for. So you need to ask people about these things. And then theoretically it will run. And we go to preview mode to see whether it works and how it works. As you see, the first question already, we passed the main test for on computer, so it will work. You don't need a smartphone mobile view, just because it anyway will not work on a mobile phone and you will be sorted out. You can change this text. This is the description of something, but if you want to know more, so this text can be adapted. And by the way, if you make your IAT here, you can change the output language to another one. And default is English, but you can go, if you go to advanced settings, you have here the language. So if you run it in German or Portuguese, we have not so many options. You can install it, you can click it here, and then the description of the test will be also conducted in the respective language. So let's see what it worked. And then we have our question. No, it wasn't shown for some reason, so probably we need to do it somewhere else. And here's the description what you have to do. We have E is for testing on the left and I on the right. We have female on the left, male on the right. And let's press the space here, as you see. To begin, put your fingers on E and I, press a space, and then we go. As you see, it works. We have the pictures that are shown correctly. Previously, we had issue with the picture if they are not from Qualtrics, but this is how you resolve it. You just take pictures that have been uploaded to Qualtrics. Yeah, when I'm talking, I'm probably not so precise, not so focused, but anyway, you see, we make the first trial and we kind of test how fast you are in recognizing pictures. Now comes the same for compassion assertiveness. Let's make it also. We had not so many words, that's why they are repeating, but if you have like 7 or 10 words, then it is, of course, it is a bit better, a bit more interesting. Up to now, no mistakes. Let's see. Okay, now comes the training trial, because in the 3 IAT, this would be already the final trial, but a critical trial, this is the training trial. So we can see whether you associate female with compassion and male with assertiveness. So, you see I'm making some mistakes, but the reason is also because I'm trying to talk to you in parallel, and we have not so many pictures, they're repeating, and now comes the critical trial. So it will be the same, but this time the results will be recorded, and this is what actually we need. What else I want to show you? I'll just want to hit a pause. No, before I hit a pause, I show you what I want to do. After you're done, first of all, you have to publish, and then it will be available to your participants. You send a link to whom you want to send it. If you run it in a lab, start a browser and take care that the link is available on their desktop, that they can immediately start it in a browser. One more important thing, with the JavaScript, it may work not in all the browsers. Some browsers block JavaScript. We had no issues with Chrome. Sometimes we had issues with Firefox, but each new version, they sometimes allow to use it, sometimes they're not allowed to use it. And we had an issue, we tried to make a test in a bank. The bank, they just stopped using of JavaScript, and that's why you have to manually turn it on, otherwise it will not work. So take care that your participants can really access the test, and then it will work. After you publish it and people participate, you will have the data and results. And I want to show you something. I think we have already a test from a student of mine, and if I find it now, I will pause the video. I will show you what you do with the results. So I continue now recording. I found a test from a student of mine. This is the final official version. He has not so many answers, so it is probably the one he shared with me to go through it. You can see the description. He added description for the participant and how much time it will take, and they can win something if they participate in this test, the participants and so on. And he made some additional manipulations. If you want to know how it works, we wrote a paper about it, and in our paper we showed that emotions change the implicit association, which is, as to me, very interesting. So what you do here, you go to data analysis. In the data analysis, you can export the results. I hope we have sufficient. Okay, these are test results, but anyway, I think it's not about this. We just go to export. We'll just try to see whether it worked or not. Export data. You go to Excel and you export the Excel file. Usually export the SPSS file because it has more data. You can do it too, but for now we need the Excel file. We download the file. And let's see whether it will work, because it's the pre-test, so maybe there are not all correct answers, but here is the file that we have. I just call it somehow very shortly, IAT YouTube, just to see that it works. And cross your fingers, maybe it will work. We go now to IATGen back, and now assuming we have the results and we want to analyze them, you go to Analyze, you go to Browse, and if we're lucky, it works not all the time. Sometimes you have to make some tweaks with the Excel, but cross your fingers. We have the file, we have advanced settings, maybe corrupted, so no, it will not work just because of this test or something. I'll try to find out just a second, try to find the correct file to show you how it works. So now I found a mistake. It was my mistake. Very simple. When you export the file, you export not the Excel but CSV file, because it has the Excel sign. Sorry, I confused it. You go to CSV file, you download it. I already did. And then you go to IATGen, IATGen.org. You go to Analyze IAT. Go to Advanced Settings, and here you can say what actually you want to do. Error penalty, yes, we want to have an error penalty. Usually we take 300 milliseconds. In this event, they suggest 600 milliseconds. We go for it. It means if somebody made a mistake, you can immediately hit another button, and then will be no mistake. And the program will not really control for it. So if you make this error penalty, each time somebody made a mistake, so probably association was wrong, the person will get additional 600 milliseconds to this trial, just to indicate that he or she made a mistake. Timeout pause, drop trials with excessive time. If it takes longer than 10,000 milliseconds, most likely people think about something and it is not an implicit but explicit association. So we can drop out all the trials which have a too long time for the answers. Drop trials with too short responses, please do. Usually, if you just sit and click EI all the time, you will get through the test. It will take few milliseconds. And it means you didn't read and you didn't actually participate. So if somebody spent less than 400 milliseconds on a test, you can change it to 150. Then probably the person was not rigorous enough, and you can sort out this person from the participation. And also drop trials if you have, if the person made about 10% of the answers were kind of too fast. It means if somebody was too fast and won the whole trial, probably most likely the person will not deliver good results. So you can drop also all the trials from the person who had 10% of time was too fast, just clicking something. Now we go to browse file, browsing, and we take now the CSV file, not the Excel file. And the magic happens, hopefully. Yes, as you see below. It makes the calculation and gives you all the time, all the data that you need. You know the error rate, you know the reliability coefficient, how reliable you are, what are the D-score, what are the D-score standard deviations, what is the Cohen's D, this is the D-score divided by standard deviation. I think this is how it works. But check it in the paper by Greenwald, Noseke, and Bananji. They describe how it works. And the p-value, as you see, wouldn't have the strong difference between the groups, so we cannot say there is a stereotype. It means that people who participated in this test, they had, like some of them associated, I don't remember what was the test about, let's say male with assertiveness and some female with assertiveness. But this was just a pretest. There were only a few trials, as you see, number of participants 7. But doesn't really matter. If you show it in 7 as a pretest, it works. You can do it with 70 or 700, and then you will have, of course, much better result. What is important, you have here the response ID, and you can copy this data, and then you can download the same file in SPSS, export to SPSS, and in the SPSS, you can, based on this ID, you can add the scores from the implicit association test, and then you can analyze whether, for instance, gender of those who responded had impact on the prejudices. It can happen that females associate themselves with more assertiveness than males, or females associate females with assertiveness more than males, or males associate males with assertiveness more than females. In this event, this is how you test it. So you have the scores, which you take from here. You can just copy, as you see, it's only 7 responses, so not so many, and you take them into your SPSS, and this table you can take directly into your results analysis. This is only about the IAT test, but in your real study you may have different predictors or different antecedents or different consequences of the D-score that you were investigating. And actually, that was it. This is the way how you make a test, how you analyze the results, and how you can share it. So you just go to the test and activate it, copy the link. So go to survey. This one is already, I think, running. It is activated. But if you click on publish, it is published, as you see. You can just simply copy the link to this test, distribute it among your participants, and then you can find it. So here it is, distributions, and you can send the link to this test, and then it would work. So it is now, again, unpublished because I clicked on something. If you click on something, Qualtrics automatically unpublishes your research because it assumes that you have changed something and the data collection is a new one. So this is the link to this questionnaire, and this is how you could work with it. I'll leave the description to this video the links to IATGen and also to the synonyms website and to materials what you will need. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the comment section, and I wish you good luck with your research. Bye bye.